Hey, everyone, welcome. My name is Marilyn Shannon, and this is the Breaking Free Show. And I'm so delighted to have you all here today to join us. We have a fun, kind of kickback, laid back show in store for you. So before we get on with our show, I say hi to Amnan.
Hello, Marilyn. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm fine.
Did you have a nice weekend?
I had a great weekend.
So did I. So did I.
Good. It was
Yes,
hot,
it
but
was
it's
hot.
fine.
It was hot and it was fun. And of course, my mother's here. She's 94 and she's here and thank God we've been having,
Yep.
a good connection time. So it's good. Okay. Before we get on with the actual meat and potatoes of our show, I don't know about you, but I'm having trouble with my Apple iPhone this morning. It's telling me that the license for the internet, the server, blah, 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 blah. And Amnon usually handles everything, and this is not him, but he has some like what's going
Well,
on?
apparently there was an update to iPhones
Yeah.
and iPad to iOS last night. I'm not an Apple user. I'm not an Apple fan. But one of my customers
Right.
told me, yeah, there was an update last
Okay.
night.
So we're
And he
assuming
picked
they
up,
did something,
and well, he has an iPhone
right?
that he got not too long ago, and he's got this older one. And he picked up the older one, which was off, and everything works okay. But with the new one, it's telling him that my server, the
Right.
email server,
Right.
the license expired and it cannot be verified and it will not allow it to get
Right.
mail. Well, a little after I talked to him and I said, okay, I'll look into it, I got another customer that let me know. And then another one. And the only thing in common here is they're all using iPhones or iPads.
Mhm. Okay.
I picked up my phone, an Android, it's working fine.
And you have the same is it the same license on all the phones
Yeah,
or it's different?
it's the license
So
is for
right.
the server that's giving
Okay.
you the email, which
Okay.
is the same.
So it shouldn't change whether it's on an Android or an iPhone.
It should not
Okay,
change.
so if you are having problems with this, you're not alone. If you have any inside information, could you share it? Because we'd like to know what the story
Yeah,
is,
I mean,
because it's not even showing up on online yet.
it's not showing up online, and I
Okay.
would love to tell you who to call, but
Yeah.
I have no
Yeah.
earthly idea, and
So
I doubt
yeah.
there's anybody that can do anything about it at this point, because that means that Apple has to issue a correction. Now, I don't know if on, and again, it's because I don't use Apple.
Right.
I don't know if you can go to the phone and roll it back and say, you know what? I don't want that update. Go
I didn't
back
even
to
know
the
they were
old one. On
updating
the
it.
PC, you
Right.
can.
Right.
Windows, you can go and say,
Mhm.
roll it back.
I don't
And
know. Usually when I'll see a little like a 1 or a mark next to my, in my phone where it's about an update and I have the phone has to be charged and all that kind of stuff to do an update. So I'm not aware of something happening overnight, but I guess they do. And
oh,
so I'm having trouble with my phone. I don't like it. I like getting emails when I'm out and about. I don't like this.
did you get the email on your laptop?
Yeah, I'm getting emails on my I'm getting emails on my laptop. So
There you
there's a
go.
problem. So if anybody has any inside scoop, 919-518-9773, or, write us in our chat and let us know because we have a lot of people that probably would like to know that. So today, it's like I said, it's a kickback kind of day. We're going to talk about tricks for any entrepreneur or anybody who wants to make money and save time. And I did some research recently and got some inside scoop from some really terrific on the ball entrepreneurs. And I'm going to share some of those with you as we go through the show. But you are welcome to call in anytime with yours, 919-518-9773, or you can come in on Skype, and that would be a voice, not video. So that would be computers and then the number 2K voice. And you can join us in our chat. Just put your name, nickname, whatever you like under the video, and you can add a comment and some of your tricks on how you do things, how you get things accomplished, how you get things done. And we all want to know those things. We all want to kind of, get better and better at whatever craft you do. There is a way to streamline, there's a way to do things that increase our productivity. And yet, why are you an entrepreneur? You're an entrepreneur because you don't want to be in an office stuck in a basement necessarily. You want the freedom to be creative. You want the freedom to be your own boss. Well, sometimes we have to come together as an entrepreneurial community and pool our resources and pool what is working for everybody else that you might want to pick up on or be reminded of or hone in on or just do better at. So today we're going to be talking about some tricks. So if you got any, let us know. So tricks to save and make money. And who wants to know? I do. I always want to know better ways to handle my stuff. And like you, you all have a lot of stuff to deal with. So we're going to take a look. All right, here we go. First slide. Have a plan and work it. So some of these slides you're going to look at, I just took them right off of Facebook or right off of LinkedIn. So I'm giving it to you straight out of the, from the post, from the research. So it ain't pretty, but it's good. Have a plan and work it. I mean, that's very important. Have a plan. Know what you want to do. Know when you want to accomplish it. Know who's going to do the accomplishing and work it. It doesn't mean it has to be etched in stone, because you do not necessarily want a plan that you cannot change. And I'll tell you why that is. And that's because you cannot control the outcome of certain things. When you're dealing with people, when you're dealing with your iPhone, you can't I mean, I had all great plan today, right? But if my iPhone, when I'm out and about, doesn't work, well, that plan doesn't exist. I have to be able to take what I was going to do today or what may be happening and put it on another day or, do whatever I have to do. So you cannot control the outcome of anything. You have to be willing to be flexible. But still in all, you got a plan. Okay. So we're going to, and I invited a lot of people on today. So hopefully some people will take me up on it. Hello.
Hello, Shannon.
Yeah, this is Marilyn. Yes. Hi.
Oh, Marilyn, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Who is this?
This is Cynthia.
Hi,
I
Cynthia.
had signed up. Yeah, I called you on another phone, on my other iPhone, and because I thought I had you set up on my 919 iPhone number, but it took me this long to find your number. I don't know what happened.
All right.
So
Well,
I'm
here
sorry
we are.
I'm calling you so late.
No, it's not so late. We just started.
Oh, good.
You're in time for the
So
party.
I'm okay.
Yes.
Right.
So you calling about your iPhone, or are you calling because you have some tricks, entrepreneurial tricks?
What does that mean? I'm calling about the consciousness meeting.
No, I think you're calling into the wrong. Are you calling into the Breaking Free show?
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I'm calling the wrong number.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. We're happy to have you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. So work a plan, but be willing to, tweak it, be willing to move on from it. Once you sometimes when you accomplish something that's been on your plan, you don't need the rest of the plan, because that something that you accomplished took care of all the other parts of your plan. But it's really important to have a concept of what you're doing and have a good plan. Okay, so, and I don't know how to pronounce this, NASB, to keep up with tasks. Somebody mentioned this on Facebook. I have not used it, but she said it is excellent. I use lists now, and I sometimes use Evernote, but I don't like a million places for a million things. I like to keep things in one place. So I use Microsoft Lists. It's very simple, and I can move my lists around. I can, I don't need a lot of things. I don't need a lot of bells and the whistles, because that just keeps me from doing my list. I mean, I want to do my list. I don't need a lot of things, but this looked interesting. So I would recommend that if you're looking for something, to check it out. Then find employees overseas, more time to do the things that I want to do. Okay, this came out of another comment, and I know exactly what that means. Sometimes you can utilize the resources of other people that are experts in things that you are not necessarily an expert in or you don't like. Maybe we can be really great at a lot of things, but you don't have the time for everything. You have to know what you have the time for. You have to know when to delegate. That is another very important fact. So finding people overseas who are willing to do certain things. Let's say social media marketing, social media posts. It's not so easy sometimes to find somebody who wants to do that. But there are people overseas who are willing to do those smaller tasks that need to be done. So I would say, and you can, post things on Twitter, you can post things on Facebook if you're looking for somebody in particular. There are certain websites that market to that purpose. And we're going to talk about those. But Upwork, have you ever used Upwork?
Yeah, but I always use
Somebody
in the country. I don't want to
Okay.
send jobs.
Okay. And
outside.
I agree with you there too. I agree with you there. But if you can't find somebody in our country, you can also, because I like to spread the wealth too, but I agree with Amnon. It's really good to use somebody in the country. And I only do money making tasks or tasks that I enjoy. And that's part of this delegating thing. You have to look at what you're doing and say, is this something that is going to make me money? How quickly is it going to make me money? Or is this something that I can delegate and help somebody else make money too? So you got to take a look at it and look at the task, how long it takes you to do it, and what else can you be doing in that period of time that's going to take you a long time. So I hired a marketing company to do some work for me sometimes, and I can't keep up with certain things in technology. So, if I am doing an event, they'll do some posting for me because I don't know how to do it. I don't know all the ins and the outs of Facebook, so I'm not going to do it. But sometimes if I need some extra help, they are there to do it because they're up with the technology. They're up with the nuances of Facebook that I haven't got a clue about. So sometimes you have to do it. And I can't afford to do something like that on a regular basis. But if it's a special, like a book launch, a special event, then they are there to help me do that. It makes it worthwhile. Okay, next one. Okay. It isn't the mountains ahead to climb that wear you out. It's the pebble in your shoe. So it's not the big things necessarily. It's the smaller things that keep us from moving forward. So it would be a really good suggestion to take a look at those things. Take a look at those things that seem really big, but maybe they're not so big after all. Maybe they're just a little smaller and things that you can handle and take care of that, are standing in your way. And I don't know what it is for you. And if you want to call in, we'd love to, chat about it because everybody's pebbles are different. But your pebble, I guarantee your pebble is the same pebble somebody else has. So please feel free to call in and share 919-518-9773, or you can come in on Skype at computers, that's plural, then the number 2K voice. But keep in mind that, take a look at what is standing in your way of doing something. And if you think about writing a book, that can seem daunting, right? And it's something you really want to do. Well, what is that pebble that's standing in your way of writing a book? Maybe it's time. Time doesn't seem like a pebble, does it? But in the scheme of things, it can be a pebble. Maybe it's a good place to work. May not seem like a pebble, but in the scheme of things, carving out a special place to work may only be a pebble. You need to take a look at it. What is your pebble? And how do you work your pebble so that you can have your dream? Okay? All right. And next one. Okay, here's some things that several people said. Planning my day the night before bed. So don't be shocked in the morning. If you can plan ahead, whether it's the day before or the night before or the week before, whatever it is, if you can lay out some of the actions, tasks, strategies, places you need to go, whatever those are, do it. Like I like to put things in my calendar that I know that are either the same things I'm going to do every week, or maybe it's certain things, but I'm methodical with planning what I'm going to do. I look at it based on, let's say, where am I going to be located? I mean, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. If I'm going to be in Cary one day and I'm going to have a meeting with somebody, then if another Cary meeting pops up, I'm doing it on that day, or I ain't doing it then. I'm going to plan it for some other time. So I'm not going to chop up my week running around, doing crazy things, running all over the place and not accomplishing and wasting time in my car. And I'm in my car a lot. So I want to make the most of my trips. So plan the night before so you're not surprised, that you kind of work your calendar like a puzzle and you put in the pieces wherever they belong and you're going to be most effective. Okay, so make that plan, automate as much as you can, automate so you're not, spending time doing things that maybe you don't really need to do, that may take advantage of all we have to offer these days, and automate. Yoga and meditation and breathing. These are all really key things that sometimes you don't think about that are really important for anyone. And entrepreneurs, we are entrepreneurs so that we can have control over our time. But in saying that, it's also hard for entrepreneurs because we could work 24/7, because wherever we have a phone, wherever we have a computer, can be work. And so it doesn't matter the time of day, it doesn't matter the day of the week. And when you're an entrepreneur, you're working. And so you've got to realize that and not overwork, and also find time for the yoga, the meditation, the breathing, the exercise. It's very important. And that's another thing to maybe make an appointment with yourself and plug in, reserve the time and that you have. And of course, if emergencies pop up and things you have to take care of, okay. So you kind of tweak it and you go on. But I believe that a lot of your creative juice is going to come when you're breathing, when you're doing yoga, when you're meditating, when you're exercising. A lot of that creative, outpouring of information, of things come when you are in the throes of doing this, when you're relaxing, when you're not running crazy and stressing yourself to the max. And I'll tell you what creative things that come also is streamlining your processes. It's like you sit back, you're breathing, and you go, oh, yeah, I can do it this way instead of that way. Or in the middle of a yoga posture, you're going, oh my God, why didn't I think of that before? Well, weren't quiet. You weren't kind of chilled out and laid back. It really happens. So don't forget, take advantage of all the opportunities you can. And there's plenty of ways of, doing it. It doesn't always have to cost you money. Okay, next one. All right, asking for help. Whether it's on Facebook, on LinkedIn, using social media to do that, whether it's asking your best friend, a good friend, an old friend, your parent, your children, whatever it looks like. I think giving yourself permission to ask for help in things that you don't know, and giving other people permission to know that you're asking for help, gives them permission to ask for help too. And it gives us that very special connection of, yeah, I'd love to help you. And yeah, you'd love to help me. And yeah, we'd love to help each other. So ask for help. And when you don't know, instead of sitting there pondering forever, trying to figure something out, yeah, that's a challenge. And sometimes it feels good, but sometimes that is a time suck. So ask for help. Then understanding how you work best and when. That's also important. If you know that you are better working in the morning, then get up early. If you know you are not a night person, then don't struggle to write that book or do that project at night when you know you can get up in the morning and knock it out. That is something really, really, really important. Know how you work. Do you work better at a desk, Or do you work better sitting and looking out at water? Do you work really well in a coffee shop, or does it drive you nuts because there's too many people around? Don't do what works well for somebody else. Do what works well for you. And and if you don't know, then experiment with some things. Figure it out and give yourself that opportunity. Because I know for myself, I am a really good morning person. I love the morning. I just love, but at night, I'm just like my bed and, and maybe a book. But I like being, up and out and, words flow and projects and, I can get things done a lot faster. At night, I'm struggling. So keep that in mind. Not allowing for things to be delayed or rescheduled. Be careful with that. It's easy to want to procrastinate and put off the things you don't like. Well, there's a theme there. Then you know that if it's something you have to do, don't put it off. If you know it's something that somebody else can do for you, then delegate it. But one thing somebody told me a long time ago, don't handle the same piece of paper, twice. Now, we don't deal with paper too much. We deal with, emails. We deal with, Word documents. But if you know you're going back to that same email and you are avoiding it, take care of it because it's a lingering and it isn't going to do anybody any good. Planning when to start and when to finish tasks is also important. Sometimes if you know you're going to give yourself, let's say, an hour to do something, you're going to stick to it better than if you just have no beginning and no end. You'll never get done. Okay, so here's another phone call. Let's hope they're calling the right place. Hello.
Hello,
And who is this?
this is Shireen.
Oh, my love. Oh, I didn't think oh, how are you? This is one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. How are you?
I'm good. How are
I'm
you?
good. Is this your first time ever calling in?
No, this is my second time,
Your
and I'll
sec-
never forget my first time. My first time I got to talk to the fly lady.
The fly lady.
You had the fly lady on your show
Oh my God, what I don't even remember that
like
show.
years ago. The
Ye-
one that cleans and organizes.
Oh yeah. That's a
Oh
long
my
time
gosh.
ago.
I was like, it was such a long time ago, but I was like starstruck, and I was like so happy for days after that.
Well, let's see if we can make you happy this time.
Okay.
Okay. So
So
yeah, go ahead.
I actually wanted to ask a question,
Okay.
but I can also, give tips if you need. But
Sure.
I wanted to ask, in relation to saving time, like some tricks. Do you have any tricks for being able to save time or how to get through emails? Emails is my big thing. I ate the frog with my returning phone calls, and I've got like everything else completely down pat just about except for emails. Emails
Mhm.
are my struggle.
So are you saying that you spend too much time in there? You don't return
No, I
them?
don't spend
What?
enough time in
You don't spend enough.
they just like, kind of fly off my radar because I get so many during the day, and I just don't have a good way to handle
So
them.
what platform are you using?
Outlook.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Outlook.
so I use Outlook too, and I don't know all the ways that Outlook works, but I know that you can set up some rules and that
Mhm.
certain emails based on words or phrases can go into certain folders
Okay.
so that your most important emails you will handle and the others you can just let it go into a folder and not
Okay,
have to
I'll
deal
try
with
that.
it. Do you know any more about Outlook?
I don't use it.
You don't use it. So that is one big thing I would say. And,
Okay.
for me, and I get a lot of emails too, but I don't know compared to you, and what you do. But you can see in Outlook, obviously, the ones that are unread.
Mhm.
So if I deal with the email, I go in order. I don't go from the bottom up. I go from the top down. So I
Yeah,
go from the
that's what I do.
newest down, right? And
Mhm.
on my desktop, I have the email. I have the program in black, so
Mm.
the new emails show up in blue, so they're easy for
Mm.
me to see.
Mhm.
So I go from the top. So when I get an email, I address it immediately.
Mhm.
And usually there's if there's been a thread, it's there and I know what it is, and I address it immediately, and then I tag it. Do you
Mm.
tag your emails?
No.
Okay, well oh my God. That's one of the most important things I have ever done. So you can go in and set up colors for
Oh.
different things. So
Okay.
like for me, I have my different books. I have coaching, if I get an email that's a coaching client, or if it's about the show, or if it's about women's power networking, all the things that I'm involved with. A miscellaneous. I have a flag for networking. I have a flag for emergencies, which is yellow.
Mhm.
So I set them up, and then after I've addressed it, let's say I'm sending an email to you, but it's not complete, then I'm going to tag it with let's say green for Women's Power Networking. And then I can do a search in Outlook based on the flag color to make sure that I've addressed all the, let's say, Women's Power Networking issues. But it keeps everything organized. So for my books, like when I'm having communication on, let's say, the opioid book coming up with
Mhm.
whoever, I have all that under opioid addiction. I have the next one on Black fathers, all categorized in a certain color. So as I'm working it, I can go in, I can check to make sure what I've done, what I haven't done, and delete stuff. And if I don't delete it, Amnon's going to yell at me. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that is step one.
Which
What you're
one?
doing,
Yeah.
because what you're creating also, and people don't know it. It's any email program. The more emails you have in your inbox, the slower the machine is going to be. So
Mm.
yeah, you can tag it with colors, but there's a better way of doing it,
Okay.
and that's filters.
Okay.
And
That
what you
filters.
do
Yeah.
is you create, if you're using Outlook, on the left side you see all your mailboxes, right?
Right. I have those. set
Mhm.
up.
You can create mailboxes. So you create one for shopping, you create one for whatever, or under somebody's name.
Right.
And then under the tools, you have something called rules. And I mean, it's a little more complicated, but you go into the rules and you set up a rule and it's all point and click. If an email comes from John, move it to John. If an
Mhm.
email comes that has Whole Foods in the subject, move it to Whole Foods. And you handle and you add them as they go. What you end up with, and again, you can see on the left side how many unread you have in that particular folder. And you end up with a lot less emails in your inbox because it's already moved it out there. And as far as organizing, you never have to search because you go to the folder. If you want to see anything that has to do with the church, you go to the church folder and everything is there.
So can I ask you a question? Because that's really important. So in the program, right, in the inbox is where I tag it. But if you put it in the folders,
They're out.
then they're out. I
Yeah,
never knew that. I thought it was all part of
well,
everything.
now, what you can do already, now that you
Yeah.
already tagged them and you want to clean up your inbox, you can create one for opioids and then go find your colors and move all those that have to do with opioids,
Opioid.
mark them, I mean, highlight them, and drag them to the opioids folder. Now they're no longer in the inbox.
Okay.
Now they're in the
Mhm.
opioids
Okay.
inbox. And
Oh,
you
that's really good.
shave down
That's-
that's for any
Oh, I'm
email
gonna do
program.
that.
That's not just Outlook.
Right.
Yeah, I need to do that too.
That's
We need to have a class.
yeah, we do. So does that help?
Yes, it does. And I see something called filter,
Yeah.
but I also am hearing tag. Are they the
No.
same or
What? No.
No,
What?
they're different.
What Marilyn said is that she is tagging with different
Yes.
colors, but the messages are all. It's like you take all your clothing of yours and the kids and put them in one drawer, but they have tags on them, and you have to look. and there are different colors, but you have to look and say, okay, this is red, that belongs to Julie. Oh, this is,
Mhm.
but it's all in the same.
Color.
No,
you
it's
have a
all in the
box.
same
Same drawer.
drawer.
Okay.
Now, if
Mhm.
you have 5 drawers and you take Julie's clothes and put it in Julie's drawer, and you take John's clothes and put it in John, that's a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
And before long, you're not going to be able to put any more clothes in the main one because it's going to be
Ah.
full. So this way, you move them where they're supposed to go. And if you see that you have something new in Whole Foods, but you're busy, you say, okay, I'll get back to this later because it's going to stay there and it's going to show you in blue how many unread are there.
Right. So this is important, but the other thing that's really important also, which is you're making sure you don't go through the same email 10 times when you do it. Like do it and get done with it. So it's like off your list.
Well, you see, that's the problem with just tagging it because it's still in the
Right.
inbox.
See,
and
I've
you go
done it.
through it and
Yeah.
you see, say, oh, I already took care of it.
Right.
If you move it
Move
to
it.
the other
So
folder,
I'm going to do that.
it's out of your way. It's
Yeah, I'm gonna
only
do
when
that.
you want it you'll be
Yeah.
seeing it
Yeah.
because you
I'm
will
gonna do that.
click on that mailbox.
I'm going to do that.
Where's the tag? Where do you do the
It's
tag?
I don't know.
well, now it's changed some, but you'll see it's got a red flag. And that says
But where-
tag. It's an icon in the on the toolbar or whatever that ribbon is called on the top. It's a red flag, and that's where your tag. That's how you tag the colors. And you can make up. They'll give you a whole bunch of colors, and you assign it a name. Like you can assign it home. You can assign it per
Mine-
child. Whatever you want to do.
I think mine's different now because we had to download it through Office 365.
Yes, mine's the same. Just
Oh.
look for the red flag, and if you, and the other way to maybe do it is to right click on the right side of an email in the list, and you'll see categories. And it's like a
Okay.
box of different
Oh,
colors.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
I see it.
And I'm doing it without looking at it. So obviously I've done it a lot, but I like what Amnon said about moving it. So
Yeah.
that's
I have a bunch of folders set up, but I don't have an easy way for them to go into the folders.
So you have to, you can
together, you and I are doing a great job.
Yeah, well, you can you can highlight them and then move them into the folder.
You don't need to tag them and move them. There's no reason. The tagging is only if you leave them in there.
Yeah, exactly. Now I know that.
Okay,
Right.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I think it's really
Totally.
important. I mean, with
That
everything.
will save a lot of time.
Yeah,
for
well,
me,
with
actually.
everything that we do, I look at myself. With everything that I do, everything is in this computer. I mean, everything. So I don't want anything to fall through my cracks. That is a complete waste of time. I want it all, organized. So did you have another question or do you have other tricks?
Oh, no, I don't have any more questions.
Okay.
But I kind of came in a little bit late to the call, so I'm not sure if you gave all of my little tricks, but I talked about time blocks.
No, I didn't go there yet. Go ahead, talk about it.
So I talked about giving yourself time blocks and giving yourself an hour more than you think it'll take. So for me, like I can't just if say I have to write, I don't know, an article or reply back to a client, and I know it's going to take some time because I want to make sure that there's some specific bullet points in there. I can't just give myself, 15 minutes to do that. So, I have to give myself a time block to do all those things. But the first thing that I do, I think you've already talked about this, but the first thing that I do is when I come in, I make a list, a to-do list of everything that I need to do that day, just that day. And then I take the top 3 and I put that on a sticky note right in front of me, because my problem, and I'm sure other people have this issue, but my problem is I've got ADD, and when I'm in the middle of doing something, I might think of something else, but I make myself focus and look at this little sticky note and say, nope, not until you finish these 3 things, then you can do that other thing.
That's
so I get
good.
the top 3 things done.
That's good, and that's very good, very wise, because just like in the email, just like in anything, we are easily distracted, and we can move from one thing to another and get stuck somewhere. So,
Mhm.
if you know you have certain things that you have got to do today,
Mhm.
period. You keep it front and center, where you can't take yourself off that task. That's a
Mhm.
very good tool. I mean, these are not like rocket science.
Mhm.
These are
But
just
sometimes they are
yeah,
for like, when you discover them. I mean, they
yeah,
could be the easiest little things that we've been
right.
doing forever, but I've given this tip to several of my clients recently, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. Because your stuff might not be something that they
So,
know
right.
to do or
So
have
tell
done
everybody
before.
what you do so they'll know who they're listening to.
Okay, so I am the small business counselor for Pitt Community College's Small Business Center. So there's 58 community colleges in North Carolina, and each one of them has a small business center. And I work at the one in Greenville, North Carolina. So our small business center here has just me as the small business counselor. So I have my clients are booked through the middle of September right now, and I have a wait/cancellation list of 35 people long. But so I had an alarm on my phone today that went off while I was finishing up with a client that said, "Call in to Marilyn's show."
Good. Because you're counseling people on being in business or
To being an entrepreneur,
being
yes,
an
being a
entrepreneur.
small business owner.
Okay, so that's a good. Okay, so blocking out time. What other tricks do you have?
So I said I write my list in the morning, and then I use my Post-it, and then I give myself deadlines. That's another thing that I do. So I put the deadlines the day before they're due, so that I'm not frantic and having an anxiety attack, because that actually, I've noticed, makes you take more time doing things because you're frantic. I schedule time for phone calls and texts. Are you there?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Sorry, I got a
yeah.
beep on my phone. So I schedule time for my phone calls and texts, meaning in the morning when I come in, I listen to my messages and write them down, and then try to call them right away. That's one of my big time savers, because it used to just kind of weigh on me.
Right.
And then I do another call back at the end of the day if I have time. But my outgoing email always says the day, and if I'm in or if I'm out, and that I will get back to them. If I don't call them back today, I'll call them back. And then I say the next day. So setting expectations is another time saver for me, because as long as I let people know, hey, they're going to get a call back, I will listen to their message to give them a call back, but it might not be until the next day. Then I don't feel so frantic about, oh my gosh, I didn't return that person's call.
Can I also interject something that I
Mhm.
think you said that was very important? I don't want to leave it because it's the same thing you can use in other things. You talked about giving yourself an extra hour.
Mhm. And
Um,
an extra day
and
for
right.
deadlines.
So I think that's very important because sometimes we squish too much,
Mhm.
too many things into too small a period of time. And that is
Yeah.
either sitting at our desk or that is driving to an appointment. We don't give
Mhm.
ourselves enough time to get there. We don't consider traffic, we don't consider lights, we don't consider an accident, we don't consider things, and then we're either late or frazzled. We don't talk about parking. In some cases, you have to park. So padding in extra
Mhm.
time is really a time saver in
Mhm.
the long run.
I completely agree. It has
Yeah.
changed my life building in that time.
Yeah. Can you get like an example?
Well, I used to squeeze in way too many things in a small period of time, thinking I could get it done, and I have plenty of time. But what would happen is I didn't have enough time, and I would be frazzled and frantic, and then I would, have a panic attack, and I would end up taking more time because I was so frazzled looking for things, but my mind wasn't clear enough to look for these things.
There you
So
go.
I was so scattered
Yes.
trying to look for what I
Yes.
needed that I wouldn't be able to find it, and it would
Yes.
take much
Right.
longer. When you
Yeah.
have more
Perfect.
time, you're more relaxed, you're,
Right.
able to think clearly.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Do you have another good trick?
I think just breaking things up into smaller, more manageable pieces is another thing that I've done. Which kind of goes along the lines of padding and making sure you have enough time. Getting up earlier in the
Mhm.
morning. I made myself into a morning person. I've always wanted to be a morning person. I never was.
Mhm.
But I did notice that I was much more productive in the morning. So I
Right,
said, if I
right,
could
right.
just get myself to get up
Right, right,
in
right,
the
right, right.
morning.
Well,
So
and
what I did,
again, you got not just you have to know how you work and also the
mhm,
demands on you. If you've
yes,
got children and
hmm
they have to be at the bus at 7:45 and you don't get out of bed till 7:45 and try to get everything done, it may not happen.
right,
And then you're going to be kind of goofy the whole day. So you really
hmm
have to take in your life and realize, all the parts of your life that require you to be at your best or, at your best. It doesn't mean like your best, 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 best. It means at your best for that day or at your best for that moment and do your best.
right,
You got to work the plan that you are involved with. You can't, expect to get, where you have to go if you're not giving yourself enough time to get there.
exactly.
It's important. And you being much more successful. I mean, you are in school, you
hmm
are have a full-time job,
hmm
right? A-
That's right.
And you're a mommy and a wife.
Yes,
So and that's another thing. If you want to accomplish things, and then you have to make the time for it. And we all have the same, 24 hours in a day.
right.
And what you do with it is what you do with it. And are you amazed sometimes at how much you can get done?
Yes, and at the same token, I'm amazed at how much that on some days that I don't get done.
And then do you beat yourself up for that?
I try not to
Yeah.
anymore because that just makes it worse.
Yeah. Yeah,
hmm
you can't beat yourself up. And I guess it's at some point you take a look at your results.
hmm
And, whether you look at your results at the end of the day and you reflect back and you go, I didn't do everything I wanted to do. But what did you do? You got to look
Right,
at it. If you, had to run your kids here or you ended up cooking this great dinner, I mean, add it all in. All of it deserves credit.
right,
And if you today just decided that you just need a mental day off and you need to just sit on the sofa or in a chaise lounge in the sun, and it's something you don't do very often and you need to do it, then by all means, that is going to save you time in the long run. So go do it.
right.
Go do it.
That's
So
right.
good. So any others, my love?
The only other thing that I can think of that actually really helps is if you're hungry, you can't focus on what you're doing. So
Good
get up and
point.
go get that snack, or go get your lunch or whatever it is,
Good
because I
point.
think that's really important in terms of focus.
It's interesting that you would bring stuff like that up. And when you were saying that, I'm thinking to myself, I know that when I have read about, let's say, Warren Buffett before,
hmm
or, Steve Jobs before, or, so, some of the mega trillionaires, the mega people who have created mega worlds, they do those things. They eat,
Right.
they exercise. Maybe not all of them, but a good amount of them, they do the things that are going to keep them healthy, or they can't do it. So eating is very important, and eating good, of course, is very important.
hmm
So good. So Shireen, what else, honey?
I think that's all I have
That's
for
all
you.
you
Oh,
have?
the one last thing is making that list before you leave your work for the day, whether it's a physical workspace or you work from home or you go to an office. Making that list before you leave for the day, you are so
Mm,
much less frazzled
right,
that night and in
right.
the next morning.
Okay. Yeah, and that also helps you go into the day. If you're
hmm
not dreading that day, you're not going to deny the things you have to do.
Right.
So good. Well, thank you for calling in.
You're
I
welcome.
love
Thank you
you.
for having me on the
My pleasure.
show.
Thank you for always being around and doing things. Oh, you know
Oh,
what?
you're welcome.
Talk about that thing that you made me do, the other thing that you said, because I think that's a really interesting thing that I didn't do before. You know, the one with the texting, the group texting. What is that?
Oh, it's called GroupMe.
Yeah, group
It's
me.
an app called GroupMe.
Yeah.
It's all one word, and it's fantastic because everything is compartmentalized. I can never say that word, but everything is organized in an app for. You can put everybody that is in a group that you text often in this group, and then you can just text them all at the same
So why is
time.
that
And
different than doing like on my phone? You know, I have a text. I can put people in there and email. You know, text them something in that moment. Why is GroupMe
um,
different?
I think it's different because for me, again, with the ADD, I can go to the app and I don't have the notifications on for that app. So I can go to it when I have my time block set up for
Okay.
it, and I
Okay.
can see if there's any new messages in there. It
Okay.
also allows you to, if you didn't want people in that group to actually have your phone number, they don't really have your phone number.
Oh, got
You're
it.
just in that group me
Got it.
together, and then everybody can go to that app to look for their messages so they're not constantly getting text
Okay.
message
Got it.
replies
Got
in
it.
there.
Got it. That's great. Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. I
You're
love you.
welcome.
Come again.
I will. Thank you.
Okay. Bye, honey.
Bye.
Okay, so good stuff. And she knows because she's dealing with entrepreneurs all day long and sharing, all kinds of tools. She's like a catalog of things that, everybody is using. So, a lot of the things she says, things you already hear, but when you hear from people who are doing it and who are helping people do it, then you need to do it too. So we're going to get back to our list here. Um, planning we talked about planning, when to start, and then let's see. I can learn how long things learn how long things take you because sometimes you don't give them enough time. So give things enough time so that you're able to get done. That makes a big difference. Time things that, okay, I'm only going to be my email 10 minutes and then get out. Because there's nothing worse than when you tell yourself you're going to do something and then you don't do it. And then the next time you go to time yourself, you're going to say, nah, I'm not going to listen anyway. That's not going to work. It's like you're 10 people and you're like, a child and you're like, nah, they're not going to do it. Do it. Don't negotiate with it. Just do it. And then move on. If it's like, I'm going to get done at this time, use the time, time or whatever it is, and move on. If I'm going to have lunch, that way you will believe in yourself and you will love you and like you and trust you when you said 10 minutes and you're done in 10 minutes and you move on. You're going to value yourself a whole lot more. So don't forget to do that. And then let me see, plan. Okay, we're not perfect. We're going to do things that are going to be imperfect and be okay with that. That is all part of being an entrepreneur because you are you're blazing trails. I was going to say trailing blazes. Sometimes we are blazing trails that are new and you're new at it. And so even though you might have sat in a class and learned how to do something, you're still going to be new at it when you do it. And you know what? Each time you do it, you're going to get better and better, but you're still new at it because we're always changing. So give yourself the leeway and don't expect perfection. Just expect growth. Expect that you love it. Expect that you get something out of it and that somebody gets something out of it too. But it does not have to be perfect. All right, next one. Outsource. We talked about this as much as possible and as much as your income will allow. There's things like Fiverr, there's Upwork, do that. Automate your routine activities, with platforms that you can trust and that you like because sometimes you can't do it all. And again, as entrepreneurs, you need help. If you're in a community of people, then you can help each other with resources. That's great too. And people want to help. Okay, next one. Ordinary people think merely of spending time. Great people think of using it. So, you know, how are you going to spend your time? How is it going to be worthy of you? And it's just don't let it go by you. Make the most of your time. Be methodical with your time because it's your time and you get to accomplish things and make the most of it. Okay, let's see. Never rewrite a list. Well, this is what this person said. Complete it. Okay. Don't rewrite it. Just get it done. But again, there are going to be things that are going to be on that list that you don't need to do anymore once you finish.
Where is it? I don't
It's
see
the
that.
next one.
No, the next one says thousands.
Since and then it says never rewrite a list.
Oh,
See, I have love I'm not. You said it helped me all the time. You see it? Okay. All right, but that's important. So don't rewrite it. It's like if you're writing a book, you don't want to keep going back and correcting yourself. You just want to move on. If you're going to write some music, you don't want to keep, if you want to produce something, you don't want to keep on adding to it. You want to get finished and then start book 2. Okay. Know your strengths and know the strengths of the other people that are around you, and they will be helpful. Let's see. I'm going to go through this kind of quickly because there's so much to say. In delegating, you're giving other people permission to shine. And we're spreading the wealth. We're spreading the money. Everybody, a lot of people want to work and they want to do what you don't want to do or what you don't like to do. This particular person mentioned in her post, she wants to know how to do it, but she may not want to do it. And that's okay. That's really great. There are things like I can do, my husband can't do. The things he can do, I can't do. And I'm okay with that. I don't have to do it all. I don't even want to do it all. I want to do what I want to do. Next. Okay, hiring those who are experts. Okay, we've said that. Okay, here's one that my cousin actually posted on Facebook, and I really like it. I choose a lazy person to do a hard job because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it. That's kind of interesting when you think about it. So that was a kind of cool quote. Okay, the next. Nothing is a waste of time if you use the experience wisely. Even if you come up with something that's imperfect, what'd you learn? Even if you gave something to somebody and they didn't do it exactly the way you wanted it done, what did you learn? What did they learn? How can you communicate to them? Plenty of people said they don't want to delegate because they can do it better themselves. Well, maybe that's so, but you cannot franchise your time enough. You can't do it enough and be able to get more and more things done if you don't get help. And if you're anything like most of the entrepreneurs that I know, and including myself, we got a lot of dreams. We got a whole bunch, we got a list of dreams. And that a lot of those dreams we can get done. But if we don't get help, we can't get it done. So keep that in mind. You are great, and if somebody doesn't do it as good as you and it's okay, it's okay. Let it go. All right. Work remote. Okay, this somebody said she works remote certain days so that she drives to the store, not multiple times. She'll work where she is. A lot of times I do that. If I know that I'm coming to the show and then I have something to do afterwards somewhere, then I'm going to work. I might work between here when I'm done and then the next place I have to go. I'll work in the car if I have to, but I'm going to make the most of all of my trips and not waste any time. Cook quick meals and, just so that, and not watch TV. Be careful of TV. That's a suck. Be careful of it. If it isn't going to teach you something, be careful of it. Move on from it. Stack meetings, which is something we've talked about. Okay, time blocks. This was Shireen. We talked about those. Daily contemplative practice. We talked some about that, right? When we talked about yoga, meditating, washing clothes only once a week. Because I know when I'm working from home, I don't do that stuff. I do it on Sundays, just like, that's my wash day, but that is not necessarily calling people on the phone and doing work. So I schedule when I'm going to do laundry. You got to, keep that in mind. Saving electricity, the dishwasher. Okay, let's see. Next. Last. I'd rather hustle 24/7 than slave away 9 to 5. That is what kind of what an entrepreneur does. It's a 24/7 job. So 24/7 is different than the structure of 9 to 5. You have to structure your time. You have to be brilliant at it. And, there are people around that can help you, including myself. And, just by what we do and, networking and things that are out there. So keep that in mind. If you need help, by all means, reach out. You can always contact me at marilyn@marilynshannon.com. I'm happy to help you structure your time and so forth. Okay. Is there a question on here?
No, there's a comment.
Okay. That is hilarious. What is she? The lazy person. Oh, yeah. That is, Shireen is saying that it's funny. It is funny because and it does make sense. Okay. So you have my book? Okay. Here are my books. They're on Amazon. And honestly, and I don't say this is from an ego perspective because I'm not that way. But when I look at it, I'm amazed that I was able to accomplish this. And I have more to accomplish. And if it wasn't for friends, if it wasn't for scheduling my time, if it wasn't for, working on a Saturday and Sunday sometimes, because I chose to be with my grandchildren during the week sometimes, like I'm going to be tomorrow sometime, I wouldn't get it done. But I'm okay with that because the results I'm seeing on Amazon. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that I'm amazed too
About what?
about you accomplishing this.
Thank you.
You asked for it.
It's okay. I mean, I know you mean well. I know you mean well. I am so close to finishing the opioid book. Oh, so close. I'm just looking for someone who is struggling with their addiction. And if you know anyone, please send them my way. We can talk and it can be anonymous. Next one is listening into the hearts of Black fathers and then families that have lost a child. If you are know someone for the Black Father book, please lead them in my direction. Same thing with a family that has lost a child. I will honor them with love, that. And I, welcome any opportunity to talk to anybody about anything. And here's the thing, I have a list, literally a mile long of book ideas that I want to do. That people keep saying to me, "Oh, Marilyn, you should do a book about this." Excuse me. We should do a book about that. You should do a book about this. I want to do a book about everything. Today, I saw somebody post on Facebook who just got custody of his daughter. And I would love to do a book about single daddies. People who don't always talk up and that we don't hear about, cumulative. If you can listen to 5, 10, 15 stories of, single daddies and what they go through, I mean, that just tells you something. And it just changes how we look at each other. So that is my intention, is to change our conversations, to change how we relate to each other, how we understand each other, and to, just kind of love each other more, just to have some more insight. I mean, I know, an addict that is in your family that's ripping it apart, is an awful thing. Awful, awful, awful. But you share your story, we all get to understand a little bit more about what that's like when you stick there. Or if you're an addict and you share your story about what you went through and what led to your addiction, we have more insight. So anyway, I love you all, and I'm very happy you were here today. I hope and that you gained a little something from this today, for a little trick, a little tool. Maybe it was something you already knew. I hope so. You know what? You know what I hope? I hope you knew everything that we said today. I hope you knew it all and that you didn't hear anything new, but that because of today, you do something a little bit more with the things that you already knew. Right? All right. With that, have a wonderful day. Bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.